Hey everyone, Ollie from Flight Comp, and I'm back again with another model introduction or overview video. It's been a while since I've done one of these because I really haven't had anything to show you guys. It's been really hard to get models lately because of the situation in Europe. You know, you guys, I'm sure you're all well aware of it. Yeah, so the only planes I've really been able to get on a consistent basis are Samba models, like the Prestige. They've still been rolling in really consistently, so just want, I want to give Samba a big shout out because they've been awesome. But anyway, today we're going to look at something totally different. We're going to look at the Eternity. It's a new F5J plane from Boho in Slovakia. Well, actually, it's not new because the design has been around for maybe 2 years, a year and a half, something like that. But this is the first time I've been able to get my hands on the model. I put an order in well over a year ago, and it finally showed up like last week. So here we go. We'll take a close look at some of the parts. It's got some really unique features. It's a 4-piece wing, 4 meter obviously, 2-piece fuselage, which is getting to be pretty standard these days in F5J. So that was the boom, and then we have the pod here. VTail, only available in VTail for now. And, maybe we'll see an X-tail in the future, but who knows. So anyway, let's just cut right to it, and we'll take a close-up look at some of the parts of this model. Let's start off with the nose pod. So as you can see, it's a kind of a shoulder wing, as in the panels plug in. They don't bolt in from the top. There's the main joiner cutout, and this slot here is a cutout for a 4-pin Dean's connector, which is supplied. So the fuselage wire harness is supplied, and it's already soldered up for you. And there is a inner insert that they use in the mold. So when they mold this, there's also a part that goes in here, and it molds the inside surface as well, and there's flats on top and bottom, and that allows it to key into the boom. So when you plug the boom on, it doesn't really rotate hardly at all. So you plug it on and just put some tape on it to fix the boom in place. Canopy, 30mm nose, cut from the factory. You could obviously cut it back to 32, and we'll take the canopy off here. They're quite tight. There's the inside, carbon and Kevlar, so I don't know that this is a 2.4 friendly nose. Canopy here, nice carbon hold down that's glassed in, so little chance of that breaking out. And we'll put all the weights on the screen here as we just go along, so you don't have to see me weighing the parts. Here is a boom, and again we can see there's a flat top and bottom that keys into the nose, and cut out here where your servos go. Carbon fiber push rods in place. And here's the tail portion where the VTails slot on, and this is probably one of the nicest things on this model. Let me take this tape off. Just see what's going on here. This is probably one of the easier VTail models to assemble at the field. So there's no cone or shroud that goes over this, and the push rods are quite nice. There's a carbon plate bonded to the carbon push rod that has a metal, like a stainless polished pin in it. That's all done for you already. So when your servos and everything are hooked up, these kind of stay in the place that they should be, and you just slide the VTail on and the pins engage with the horns on the VTails, and it makes assembling this really nice and easy. Got the carbon joiners here, and they're very thin-walled and lightweight, which is quite nice. And the alignment pins are really nice too. I don't know if they're aluminum or stainless, but they're polished and rounded off at the end. I believe they're hollow as well. So there's a boom. Let's take a look at the VTails here. Now, these VTails that I got with this shipment, they're actually new. Originally, the model used the older Infinity, I believe Infinity Evo VTails, and he actually machined some new molds with the new tails, and I believe these are bigger than the old tails. And the moving part is quite large. You can see the really nice aluminum control horn there, machined and pre-bonded from the factory. It's a very short horn, so we have the same kind of common issue with the VTail because these horns are so short that you really have to run tiny control arms on your servos to get precision and power out of your servos. But the part is just phenomenal. Quality is excellent. Really nice. Right here's a center panel. Again, this is a four-piece wing design. This is how the panel comes. It's got the IDS horn installed in the flap with the arm, and this is the I think what Servo Ramen calls the mid size, so it's not the mini. So these parts are a little more durable than the mini IDS, which I like a lot, especially for the flaps. You see a fully enclosed servo bay, so it's not just machined foam. It's it's carbon walled and bottomed, fully enclosed. So the bottom mold for this wing has a big nub sticking out that molds this bay, and the wiring is pre-installed. So we pull this wiring out for your flap servo, and then if we move to the portion that mates to the tip panel, you can see it's got 4-pin Deans installed there, kind of plug and play setup. It's the hole for the joiner box there, and really nice polished alignment pins, and the control surfaces are quite large, very large. So this model is an extremely high aspect ratio. Well, I shouldn't say extremely. It's high aspect ratio, and it's got a very thin wing. Hard to show you, but if you were to compare it to like a Center J or something like that, that kind of airfoil wing design, this seems to be a lot thinner. So I think theoretically this should be able to penetrate very well at lighter weights. And if we look at the portion that mates to the fuselage, again we have a 4-pin Deans there, main joiner pocket, and we have a square built-in ballast tube. So to ballast the model, you slide slugs into the wing, which I really like because that keeps the ballast out of the fuselage. And I found it to be a little bit, depending on the design, what model you're flying, I found it to be a little bit of a pain to do like quick ballast changes with ballast that you load in through the canopy, because you have wires and things in the nose, and the ballast tends to get snagged up on the wires, and you can kind of do damage to wires and connectors. There's been a few occasions where I've been in a fly-off at a F5J contest and generally take the ballast with me, and I've tried to do like a quick ballast change between rounds, and I've had trouble getting the ballast to fit into my nose, even though, you know, on the bench it goes in and out super easy every time, no problem. But you know, when you're in a fly-off and you're under pressure, that's the time it doesn't want to fit. So I like the idea of putting it in the wing. All the protective covers for the tail and the wing are included with the model. Here we have a tip panel. Sort of a neon or red and white, and these parts aren't necessarily one complete model. I'm just grabbing random parts from different models. Okay, here's a kind of another unique feature of this model. It's not unique, you know, you see the Plus that has this, but it's got the triple dihedral wing. So this is the tip panel. Obviously, if you look at the fuse, there's dihedral at the center, where the center meets the tip, and now we have another bend here in the tip panel. So very similar to the Plus X. But however, you'll notice for the tip aileron, there's no servo bay. So even though this is a multi-brake panel, there's just one servo that drives both panels, which I was kind of excited to mess with a 6 servo setup on a wing, but I now that I'm looking at this, I like the simplicity of this. I mean, it definitely reduces weight and you know, keeps the programming simple. Again, we have the same fully boxed in servo bay, IDS pre-installed with the mid-size horn, not the super tiny one. You know, better durability there. And then we have, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a cutout for I think a Dean's connector here that slides right in. And then we have the joiner box, obviously, holes for the alignment pin. So let's take a look at how this these two surfaces are slaved together. There's a fiberglass rod that's inserted between these two surfaces, and obviously this is put in the manufacturing process, so they must have a slot machined in the cores. And I don't know if there's like a fiberglass sleeve that goes over that or a carbon sleeve, but the surface moves really freely, and if you grab the two surfaces, there's no play between them. So you have a pretty rigid connection between these two. I really like this. And you get plenty of throw each direction with no binding whatsoever. So it's really, really cool. Love the way that's set up. So there's a tip panel. Alright, here's a boom with the VTails attached. This is one that I started building. So this is my strong model. And I'll just give you guys kind of a look at how the servos are installed here. So there's a 4-pin Dean's plug to connect this up to the nose pod. There's actually a carbon plate here that gets glued in, that this plug is glued into. It makes it a nice setup, but it creates some other challenges. I would consider gluing this carbon plate in as optional. If you just want to get a quick build, you don't have to use this at all. But let me show you how the tails go on, and then I'll get back to the servos here, because I actually want to take these tails apart anyway. So you can see the L bend and the horn, and that's all it takes to remove that. Same with the other side. Super easy. And you know, these L bends, they kind of stay where they need to be. So they aren't flopping around when you're trying to get the tails on, which is really nice. Okay, so this model comes with these neat servo ramen boom mounts for KST X08s. You can see the kind of that blue plastic in there. That's supplied with the kit, and the blue is for vertical mount X08s. I have A08s in here, same size. And if I don't think the gray one will be supplied with the kit, maybe unless you specify, but there's a gray version of these mounts that are for the H version of these servos, or the horizontal mounts. But it makes a really neat and clean installation here. But there are some challenges, and I'm going to go over those things in a build video that I'm going to post shortly after this video goes up. So I'll talk about that more in the build video. Nothing like, oh my god, this sucks, or anything like that. It's just something you need to think ahead of, something you need to think about before you go ahead and assemble this area here, because basically you need to be able to access the screws that hold the servo plate down if you ever want to replace a servo. But we'll talk about that later. Alright, this is one of the best parts of this model, and it was the same with the original Infinities, is just all the stuff you get with it, which makes it, like, you know, it's a very expensive airplane, so to get all this kind of stuff just makes you feel better about spending that kind of money. So we'll quickly go over what you get with this guy. I got this white piece of paper here just for some contrast. So obviously you get a main joiner. This is I don't know what the angle is, but I think as of right now there's only one option for the main joiner. The quality is just fantastic. What really impresses me about this is look how white the row cell is. Look how clean that is. Usually there's, you know, a bunch of carbon dust smeared across these. I don't know if he vacuums these or blows these out or whatever, but it's just neat. And then you get 2 pairs of tip joiners, which is really awesome. And the angle is different between the two, so these are a lower angle, these are a higher angle. I don't know what the angles are as I'm filming this, but I'll ask, and if he gives me an answer, I'll just put it on the screen. But again, super clean, really nice parts. They feel very light too. All right. So, get the fuselage side wiring harnesses, 4 pins Deans, and we have our servo connectors here. He's using a common positive and negative for both flap and ailerons. See, this one just has a signal wire. Really nicely made parts. I would kind of like to see the gauge of wire shrink a little bit, but you know, maybe since this is a four wire strand, you can't get lighter wire, but you know, it's not heavy, but we can weigh it. And then get some just carbon wing covers that are machined, so they will probably fit quite nicely. You get obviously 4 of those. Just zoom in on this guy here. So a real nice machined 30mm motor mount. You can see the knurling on there. This is a blank, so if you want to use this, you'd have to drill your own holes, which for some guys is super easy, and for other guys is the bane of their existence. But you know, if you're a guy that has a nice set of tools and drill press and all that, you can make good use of this. If not, you can just buy one that suits your needs. It's kind of a weird thing. It's got the Dean's plugs for, I think these are for the tip panels, and it doesn't come with the Dean's plugs for the boom. I don't know if that was just an oversight or you have to get it yourself, but these seem to be just for the tip panels. And kind of wondering why you need 4 pins for those. You could get away with 3 pin, but anyway. And then you get these kind of servo adapter things to turn a female servo plug into a male. Not quite sure where these go. Actually, I have no idea. They're too small to go in the little boom carbon fiber plate thing. I don't think they go on the tip panels, but I'll ask, and if he answers, I'll put that up on the screen. Alright, here's some really cool bits. Let me zoom out of here. Got the deflection gauge for center panel and tip panel. Marked in millimeters, not degrees. Not that it matters much. This is laser cut. And we have same thing for the VTails. You see the 0 mark there. Pretty awesome. And then this is a, I think this is a neutral template. It might be for the VTails. I think it's for the VTails to get neutral. Because there's no alignment point. Holy moly, the screen just went purple. Or I think I got rid of the purple screen. That was crazy. Anyway. Yeah, neutral template for the VTails because there's no alignment point on the back of the fuselage to get the neutral point for your VTails. So this template is very handy, and I would recommend you keep these templates in your toolbox or your radio box so you have them when you need them. And then there's some of these miscellaneous plywood parts, and if you choose to, you can just bond these in the templates, and that'll keep them from falling over. But if you do that, they'll be kind of harder to store, so it's up to you. Alright, we got 4 wooden spacers for ballast. If you order a light model, this is what you get. If you order a performance model, I think you get 8 of these because you get to put more ballast in the performance model. And then you get the frames for the IDS. So you can, if you order the model ahead of time, you can, or special order the model, you can designate what servos you want to use, and he'll supply the third bearing, or just say the regular IDS frames for the servos of your choice. These aren't the foam type; these are the regular type, and they don't need to be the foam type because we have kind of a conventional servo bay with the molded cavity. I know Samba uses the foam type, and it kind of slips into their molded cavity on the Prestige. But this will just glue on the bottom surface there. And you might have to cut some of this off, but we'll see how that goes in the build. We'll do some build videos. And that is the boom mount for your tail servos. Really neat. So you just slide the servos in and this plate bolts in on top here. And I'm going to modify this very slightly to aid in like replacing servos at a contest or at the field, so I can get the servos in and out of the airplane easier. But we'll show that in the build video for the fuselage. But yeah, the blue one is for X08 vertical mount or the A08 vertical mount. Alright, these are the brass machine ballast slugs that are supplied with the kit, and I'll put the weight up right here somewhere because I don't remember how much these weigh. But you can run 1, 2, 3, 4, so you have a good amount of options. And there'll be a kind of a ballast diagram on my site. You can see how the ballast affects the CG, so you could print that out and keep it in your flight box, your radio box, toolbox, and you can see what loads of ballast will, how that will affect your CG. So that's really nice. You get 4 of these with the light models, and you'll get 8 with the performance. So you'll be able to carry quite a bit of ballast with the strong model, which I really appreciate. Be gone, purple. Anyway, yeah, these are the carbon plates that insert into the boom, and one's supposed to go in the boom, as I already showed you, and I think the other one goes into the nose pod, right? But you'd have to glue it like in here, which I don't know, trying to get glue in here from there to bond that thing on, it doesn't seem like a good time to me. So I don't know that I'm going to be doing that on my build. I'll have a think about it, and maybe I'll talk to Boho about it and ask him for some advice about it. But yeah, it just seems like very difficult. So you can see it looks like it's machined rough, but it's just one side, so you know, like a couple swipes of sandpaper will clean that up. And that hole is definitely cut out for a Dean's 4-pin, so that little tiny plug we saw earlier, there's no way that's going in there. And there's another hole here. I don't know what that's for, maybe for some kind of alignment, but again, I really don't know. I'll ask Boho about that, see what he says. All right, one last thing to look at here. This pretty sweet hat that I got with my order. Check that out. It's even got my name on it. Didn't even ask for it. How awesome is that? Well, unfortunately I sweat like a pig, so one contest in this nice, shiny, clean new hat's gonna be ruined, so I apologize in advance, Boho. But thank you very much for the hat. Alright, well there you go. There was a look at the Eternity. I've ordered more, so hopefully I'll be able to get some more in, and it won't take a year. So I'm kind of talking to Boho to kind of figure out a way to get him in a little more consistently, because he does have a lot of demand for him in Europe, so I can understand, and he's not, he doesn't have a huge production operation like some of the other vendors, and obviously there's, you know, material shortages and all kinds of shortages and supply chain issues, like, you know, it's happening all over the world. So I don't know, hopefully we'll be able to get some more in before you know, nuclear Armageddon or World War III gets going in earnest. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.